If there's one thing that men rarely think about until it's too late, it's prostate health. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers among men and often has no symptoms at first. However, some early signs can serve as a warning, such as increased urinary frequency, especially at night, a weaker urinary stream, a feeling of incomplete emptying of the bladder, and even blood in the urine or semen. If ignored, these symptoms can progress, causing severe difficulty urinating, pelvic pain, and, in more advanced stages, the cancer can spread to other parts of the body, making treatment much more complicated. The big problem? Many people don't realize that diet plays a crucial role in both preventing and worsening this condition. And here's a fact that may surprise you. Some of the foods you eat every day may be silently contributing to the development of this disease. Likewise, there are ingredients that act as real protective shields, helping to regulate hormones, reduce inflammation, and strengthen the body's defenses. The question is, do you know which foods are helping you and which may be harming you? The truth is that small changes in your diet can make a huge difference to your health and longevity. What if you could avoid serious problems just by adjusting what you put on your plate? The good news is that it's entirely possible. And in this video, you'll find out exactly which foods can save your male health and which can destroy it. So, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Do you already worry about prostate health? What do you do to take care of it? Let's exchange ideas in the comments. Few people realize it, but food has the power to shape the destiny of our health. What if there was a group of vegetables that acted like a real protective shield against disease? Well, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower, do just that. They contain sulforaphane, a bioactive compound that acts as a real exterminator of harmful cells. What's more interesting? Studies indicate that this compound can reduce the risk of cancer by helping the body eliminate toxic substances before they cause damage. Now imagine being able to turbocharge your body with this natural protection just by changing what you put on your plate. But don't think that all you have to do is eat a little broccoli here and there to reap these benefits. The key lies in the frequency and the way these vegetables are prepared. The ideal is to eat them lightly steamed, as this preserves the sulforaphane. If they are cooked for too long, the properties are lost. So here's a practical tip. How about preparing a warm broccoli and cauliflower salad with a touch of olive oil and lemon? As well as being delicious, this dish helps to strengthen your body from the inside out. Oh, and if you want to boost the effects, combine these vegetables with foods rich in vitamin C, such as oranges or peppers. And here's a curious fact. Sulforaphane not only fights bad cells, it also helps to detoxify the body, helping the liver to eliminate harmful compounds. This means that, as well as protecting against cancer, these vegetables can contribute to your mood and well-being on a daily basis. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have infinite energy? The secret often lies in what they put on their plate. A strategic diet can be the difference between a life full of vitality and a body that is constantly exhausted. Now, here's a detail that few people know. To maximize the potential of cruciferous vegetables, a good tactic is to combine them with fermented foods, such as kimchi or sauerkraut. This is because fermentation helps to strengthen the intestinal microbiota, enhancing the absorption of nutrients. It's as if the body received a defense boost. And speaking of defense, have you ever thought that other foods can act as real health guardians in your body? Well, there's one in particular that deserves a prominent place in your diet. If there's one food that's both underrated and powerful, it's the tomato. It may look simple, but it hides a veritable arsenal of protection for the body. The secret lies in lycopene, an antioxidant capable of reducing the risk of prostate cancer and fighting cellular aging. The interesting detail? This compound becomes even more potent when tomatoes are cooked. This means that the homemade tomato sauce you love can be a real health elixir. And it doesn't stop there. When combined with a source of healthy fat, such as olive oil, lycopene is absorbed even more efficiently. How about some practical ideas for incorporating lycopene into your routine? In addition to the traditional homemade sauce, you can prepare a tomato soup, a refreshing gazpacho, or even roast tomatoes with aromatic herbs. If you want something even simpler, wholemeal toast with olive oil, chopped tomatoes, and a touch of garlic will do just fine. The key point is to ensure that these foods are always on the menu, rather than relying on sporadic consumption. After all, prevention happens on a daily basis, not in isolated moments. Now, a curious fact. Research shows that men who consume tomatoes regularly have a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. And this effect is not exclusive to men. Lycopene also has anti-inflammatory properties and helps protect the heart, reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease. If you want longevity and quality of life, you can't ignore the potential of this antioxidant. And let's face it, it doesn't hurt to include a little more tomato on your plate, right? But not all that glitters is gold. The benefits come mainly from natural and healthily processed tomatoes. Industrialized sauces full of sugar and preservatives are out. So the golden tip is to always opt for homemade preparations and minimally processed foods. And speaking of strategic food choices, there is a group of foods that works impressively to reduce inflammation and protect cells. When it comes to healthy eating, many people forget about a real treasure from the seas. Fish rich in omega-3. These essential fatty acids are like natural anti-inflammatory agents, silently fighting processes in the body that can lead to serious diseases such as cancer. Chronic inflammation, the kind that goes unnoticed and drags on for years, is one of the factors that can favor the growth of cancer cells. And here's the kicker. Including fish such as salmon, sardines, and tuna in your diet can be a powerful strategy for keeping your body balanced and protected. But beware. Don't just eat any fish. The way you prepare it makes all the difference. Frying? Best avoided, as hot oil can destroy most of the nutrients and, even worse, add inflammatory substances. The ideal is to opt for grilled, roasted, or even marinated preparations, such as ceviche. Want a practical suggestion? A grilled salmon fillet with herb and lemon sauce, accompanied by quinoa and vegetables, is a complete meal full of benefits. Or a good quality canned sardine can be a quick and nutritious everyday option. And don't think that omega-3 only benefits cancer prevention. It's also a great ally for heart and brain health. Have you noticed that people who eat a lot of fish, such as the Japanese and Nordic peoples, tend to have lower rates of cardiovascular disease? This is no coincidence. Studies show that this nutrient helps reduce triglyceride levels, improves blood circulation, and can even contribute to mental health by reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression. In other words, it's not just a question of longevity, but of quality of life. Now, you may be asking yourself, what if I don't like fish? The good news is that there are alternatives, such as linseed oil, chia, and walnuts, which also provide some forms of omega-3. But without a doubt, the most efficient absorption comes from fish. And if there's one thing that can boost this protective effect even more, it's an ancient drink that has been studied for centuries for its incredible benefits. If there is one drink that carries centuries of wisdom and a veritable arsenal of health benefits, it is green tea. Originating in Eastern culture, it is not only an ancient tradition, but also a powerful ally in disease prevention. Its secret lies in catechins, antioxidants, that fight free radicals and help reduce cell damage. This means that drinking green tea regularly can be a smart strategy for protecting the body against prostate cancer and other degenerative diseases. And the best part? It also helps with metabolism and fat burning, making it a true longevity elixir. But it's important to know how to consume it to make the most of these benefits. Bagged green tea, full of preservatives and processed? Forget it. The best option is the natural version, with loose leaves or powder like matcha. What's more, the temperature of the water makes all the difference. Ideally, it should be hot but not boiling, as very high temperatures can destroy some of the catechins. If you want an even more powerful effect, you can combine green tea with lemon, which increases the absorption of antioxidants. A cup in the morning and another in the afternoon are enough to strengthen the body. And the benefits don't stop there. In addition to cell protection, green tea has a surprising effect on the mind. Have you ever noticed how Buddhist monks have used it for centuries to maintain focus during long hours of meditation? This is because it contains L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes relaxation without causing drowsiness. In other words, it balances the energy of the body and mind, helping to maintain concentration and reduce stress. Imagine starting the day with a cup of this drink and feeling a mental clarity that makes you more productive and focused. Now, if you're wondering how to fit this into your routine, think about replacing that afternoon coffee full of sugar with a good cup of green tea. And for those who want to boost the benefits even more, there is a group of foods that can act in a complementary way, balancing hormone levels and protecting your health even more. Food plays a fundamental role in regulating hormones, and few foods do this as well as soya and its derivatives. The secret lies in isoflavones, natural compounds that mimic the action of estrogen in the body and help maintain hormonal balance. This effect can be particularly beneficial for men, as unregulated hormone levels are associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer. Consuming foods such as tofu, soy milk, and miso in a balanced way can be a smart strategy to strengthen the body's defenses against silent diseases. But it's important to know how to choose the right source. Not all soy is the same. Ultra-processed soy-based products, such as industrialized burgers and protein bars, often contain additives that nullify their benefits. The ideal is to opt for natural and minimally processed versions. A practical example: tofu can be used in salads, stir-fries, and even light desserts, such as a tofu-based passion fruit cream. For those who like drinks, replacing regular milk with unsweetened soy milk can be a simple way to incorporate this superfood into your routine. And there's a curious fact about soy consumption. Asian countries such as Japan and South Korea, where the diet is rich in this food, have significantly lower rates of prostate cancer compared to the West. This is no coincidence. As well as balancing hormones, soy has anti-inflammatory properties that help keep the body running like clockwork. And for those who think soy is bland food, a good well-seasoned tempeh can completely change that view. Now, a question. Have you ever realized what a powerful tool food can be for strengthening the body and preventing disease? What if there was a group of foods that, as well as balancing hormones, also helped regulate the gut, reduce inflammation, and improve digestion? Well, it's time to talk about them. It's time. If there's one secret that few people know about health and longevity, it's dietary fiber. It may seem like a simple dietary detail, but in fact, consuming foods rich in fiber, such as oats, chia, and linseed, can completely transform the way your body functions. In addition to improving digestion and balancing the intestines, fiber helps regulate hormones, which is essential for preventing prostate cancer. What's more, they reduce silent inflammation, which, over time, can become real health time bombs. Now, it's no use just knowing this. You need to apply it in your daily life. A simple way to include more fiber in your diet is to start your breakfast with oatmeal or a smoothie with chia and linseed. At lunchtime, adding seeds to rice or salad is a powerful nutritional boost. And for those who like practical snacks, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in yogurt can make all the difference. The secret is consistency. Small changes have a huge impact on health when they become habits. And what few people realize is that a healthy gut is directly linked to immunity and hormone production. If the digestive system works well, the body absorbs nutrients better and keeps internal processes in balance. It's like tuning a musical instrument. When all the strings are adjusted, the melody of health plays flawlessly. This explains why diets rich in fiber are associated with a reduction in various diseases, from cardiovascular problems to metabolic disorders. But here's a golden tip. For fiber to work, it's essential to drink plenty of water. Without hydration, they won't do their job properly. And speaking of food choices that have a direct impact on health, not everything that seems harmless really is. There are certain foods that may be silently sabotaging your well-being and increasing the risk of disease. And one of the biggest villains is more present in your routine than you might think. Here's a truth that not many people want to hear. Not all meat is equal. While red meat can have its place in a balanced diet, excessive consumption, especially of processed meats, such as sausage, bacon, and ham, can be a real health problem. Studies show that these foods are associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer due to the chemicals released during processing and cooking at high temperatures. The problem is not just saturated fat, but also preservatives and nitrates which, in the body, can turn into carcinogenic compounds. Now, does this mean you need to cut meat out of your diet completely? Not necessarily. The secret lies in balance and choosing the best sources. Prefer lean cuts, meat from pasture-raised animals, and if possible, reduce your weekly consumption. Instead of eating red meat every day, how about alternating with vegetable proteins, such as lentils and chickpeas, or fish rich in omega-3? That way, you keep variety on your plate and reduce your exposure to risk factors. Small changes like this can have a huge impact on your health in the long term. What's more, the way the meat is prepared also makes all the difference. Meat grilled over high heat and frequent barbecues generate compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, both of which are associated with the development of cancer. This means that reducing roasted or charred meat is already a big step. Cooking over low heat, roasting in the oven, or preparing stews are healthier alternatives for those who don't want to give up flavor, but don't want to put their health at risk either. Now, let's think beyond cancer. Excessive consumption of processed meats is also linked to chronic inflammation, increased cholesterol, and cardiovascular problems. In other words, the damage goes much further than you might think. And, to make matters even more complicated, there is another group of foods that, when consumed in excess, can intensify this scenario and increase the health risks even further. Few people think about it, but that daily glass of milk could be having more consequences than you think. The problem lies not in the milk itself, but in the excessive consumption of dairy products, which can raise levels of the growth factor IGF-1 in the body. This hormone, in high concentrations, is associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer as it stimulates cell growth in an uncontrolled way. In other words, if consumed without moderation, milk can end up feeding an environment conducive to the development of silent diseases. Does this mean you need to cut out dairy products completely? Not necessarily. Moderation is the key. If you're the type who consumes milk, cheese, and yogurt every day, it might be a good idea to cut back a little. Alternating with plant-based drinks, such as almond, oat, or soy milk, can be an interesting strategy. And when it comes to cheese, opting for less processed versions, such as white or cottage cheese, can be a more balanced choice. Small adjustments make all the difference when it comes to long-term health. And here's a curious fact. Countries with a high consumption of dairy products, such as the United States and some European countries, have higher rates of prostate cancer compared to regions where this consumption is lower, such as Japan and South Korea. This doesn't mean that milk is the absolute villain, but that too much of it can have a negative impact on the body's hormonal balance. After all, anything that unbalances the body can have unpredictable consequences. And when it comes to health, it's always best to bet on prevention. But if the problem was just milk, it would be easy. The real danger lies in the set of inflammatory habits that many people cultivate without realizing it. And one of the biggest culprits is disguised in industrialized foods, fast foods, and even certain everyday products. If there's one thing the human body definitely doesn't need, it's trans fats. Artificially created to add flavor and increase the shelf life of food, these fats are real health villains. Present in fast food, snacks, margarine, and many industrialized products, they increase inflammation in the body, impair circulation, and even increase the risk of serious diseases, including prostate cancer. And the problem doesn't stop there. Trans fats also contribute to the buildup of plaques in the arteries, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. But what about saturated fats? Unlike trans fats, saturated fats are natural and found in foods such as meat, cheese, and butter. However, excessive consumption of them can also increase inflammation and disrupt hormone levels. The key, once again, is balance. If you love a juicy steak or a piece of cheese, the ideal is not to overdo it and always look for healthier sources of fat, such as olive oil, avocado, and oil seeds. The intelligent substitution of certain foods can be a real game changer for your health. Now the question is, how do you avoid these everyday pitfalls? The answer lies in the labels. Often, products that seem healthy hide absurd amounts of trans fats. So whenever you buy something industrialized, keep an eye on the nutritional information. If you come across terms like partially hydrogenated fat, you know it's best to leave it on the shelf. In addition, swapping fried foods for baked goods and cutting down on fast food can make a huge difference in reducing inflammation in the body. The big problem is that many inflammatory foods are so present in everyday life that people simply don't realize the impact they have. And just when you think you're aware of what you're consuming, along comes another major health enemy, which can be disguised on supermarket shelves and even in snacks that seem harmless. If there's one ingredient that deserves to be treated with extreme caution, it's refined sugar. It may seem harmless, but it actually acts as a real fuel for inflammatory processes in the body. Studies show that cancer cells can use glucose as an energy source, which means that excessive sugar consumption can stimulate the uncontrolled growth of these cells. In addition, an excess of simple carbohydrates, such as white bread, refined pasta, and soft drinks, causes insulin spikes in the blood, deregulating hormones and creating an environment conducive to the development of diseases. But how can we escape this vicious cycle? After all, sugar is present in practically everything. The secret lies in making smart choices. Instead of white bread, why not opt for wholemeal versions, rich in fiber? Instead of industrialized sweets, fruits with a high antioxidant content, such as strawberries and blueberries, can satisfy your sweet tooth without damaging your health. What about that soda full of sugar? Replacing it with sparkling water and lemon can be a great first step towards reducing your intake of hidden sugars. And there's more. As well as damaging hormonal balance, excessive consumption of sugar and simple carbohydrates is directly linked to metabolic problems such as insulin resistance and obesity. Have you ever noticed how some people find it difficult to lose weight even when dieting? Often, the real culprit lies in the sugars disguised in sauces, breads, and even fit products, which, ironically, contain more sugar than we realize. That's why a careful reading of labels is essential to avoid food traps. The problem with sugar goes beyond weight gain or increased blood glucose. It feeds silent inflammation, compromises immunity, and can open the door to serious diseases in the future. And as if that weren't enough, there's another common habit that can further intensify this scenario, weakening the body and accelerating cellular aging. Many people think of alcohol as something harmless, especially when it's part of moments of relaxation. But what few people realize is that excessive consumption can be a real fuel for oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. The liver, which already works hard to filter out toxins, suffers even more from the impact of alcohol, and the result can be a weakening of the body's natural defenses. This process encourages uncontrolled cell growth and can increase the risk of cancer, including prostate cancer. Now, does this mean that you need to cut alcohol out of your life completely? Not necessarily. The key is balance. An occasional glass of wine may even have its benefits, thanks to the polyphenols present in grapes, which act as antioxidants. But the problem begins when consumption becomes frequent or exaggerated. If happy hour has become a daily ritual, perhaps it's time to rethink your habits. Swapping alcoholic drinks for antioxidant teas, natural juices, or simply increasing your water intake is already a big step towards reducing the damage caused by alcohol. The big danger is that alcohol doesn't just damage the liver, it also affects the absorption of essential nutrients, compromising immunity and cell regeneration. Have you ever noticed how people who consume too much alcohol tend to have worn-out skin and signs of premature aging? This is because the body enters a constant state of inflammation, making it difficult to recover. When this inflammation continues for too long, the health risks increase dramatically. The main question is, to what extent is it worth maintaining habits that silently destroy your health? Diet and daily choices have a direct impact on well-being and longevity. Now that you understand how each of these factors can influence your body, it's easier to make conscious decisions. But to really put this into practice, you need to go beyond theory and adopt habits that make a difference. And that's what we need to talk about now. Now that you know how food can be an ally or an enemy of your health, the question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to continue ignoring your body's signals, or are you going to start making smarter choices? Small changes in everyday life can be the difference between a long and healthy life or years of dealing with avoidable problems. After all, taking care of your health isn't just about living longer, it's about living well. Eating better doesn't mean giving up the pleasure of eating, but rather learning to make strategic choices. Are you eating more protective or sabotaging foods? Have you identified any mistakes in your diet? Let us know in the comments. Let's talk about it and share experiences. And if you want to continue learning how to improve your health, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Here, you'll find content that really makes a difference, without beating around the bush and straight to the point. And of course, if this video has helped you in any way, please like it, so that more people have access to this valuable information. See you in the next video.